There's Karen. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for being on. We are just running a couple minutes late, and our other panelist is just hopping on. So we're excited to share with you guys today some of our biggest takeaways from Mega Camp this past year. And it was honestly, I felt like probably one of the best ones, that if not the best one. Stephanie, I don't know how you feel, but there was so much, I got so much out of this one this year.
It was literally the best. And I've been to so many family reunions and mega camps. And when they sent the feedback to us, I sent in that the CEO summit that we go to prior was worth the entire trip. And the girl who I responded to apparently plans it. And she was like, you just made my whole day.
Oh, love it. Oh my gosh. Is that Craig? I'm sorry, Craig's kind of okay. Well, we're gonna start. Well, Craig should be hopping on any minute. We're gonna start. I brought a lot of notes too, and so I thought maybe I know Stephanie and I were both at the CEO summit, the private mastermind with Gary Keller, and then we had several from the other panels and events too. So I thought we would just kind of round robin, and we'll have Craig share too. But Stephanie, let's just start with the CEO summit. Oh, here comes Craig. With the CEO summit while Craig's getting on. And here are some of your biggest takeaways from the speakers there. We had so many good ones.
Okay, do you want to do Gary's top what reasons CEOs don't succeed? Do you want to do those?
Yeah, that would be awesome. Do you have that?
I do.
Okay.
I didn't know if you wanted to do it or if you wanted me to do it.
I actually wasn't there for that because our flight was late. So I walked in right when he was walking off stage from that. So that would be awesome I thought that I had a picture of it that I could pull up, that I'm looking for right now, but I can't find
I
it.
haven't. Okay, so these are Gary's top 12 mistakes CEOs make. And so I'll just go through those. And if you have any questions, we can answer them at the end and I can elaborate if you want me to. The number one reason, number one mistake is not always looking for talent. You're either accidentally, part-time, or full-time hiring people. If you expect your life to be as big as possible, you have to be on. Don't wait until you need someone. So when you're having conversations, whether it be with your hostess, waitress, waiter, your whoever, always be thinking about, is this someone I could hire? The second mistake they make is not hiring killers.
I
And
love
so
that one. I did hear
we
that.
underestimate our need for really talented people. Don't hire out of pain and for delegation. You can't maximize your potential if the person you hire is not at least your equal. And I think that Linda McKissick says that Gary told her most people's ceiling is her floor, and that will not work. And so you've got to think about that. You always want to hire for three things: integrity, intelligence, and energy. The third mistake CEOs make is hiring people that need to change. People can change, but you can't change people. So
Yeah,
if they're willing to change, they can. The number 4 mistake is waiting for a replacement before replacing. So if you have the example is if you have someone you know you need to let go and you wait till you find their replacement, a bad egg can do a lot of damage while you're looking for their replacement. So if you have someone you know has to go that's toxic, it would be better to not have anyone in that position at all than to let them stay another minute. Number 5 is failing to help people grow. Helping people grow isn't the same as changing them. Don't think of it that way. The number one lid on any business is people not growing. You have to treat your people like you treat yourself. So if you go to family reunion, you need to afford your people that opportunity. If you go to mega camp, you need to afford them the mega camp. And then this wasn't part of this, but it goes along with it. On one of Dana and Linda's podcasts, they said set an education budget for your people and let them spend it on what they want to learn, and then they'll improve even more. So number 6 is buying into say versus do. Words are cheap. It's all about actions and results. And this is where you hold your people accountable with a 135 and a 411. Number 7 is failing to inspect what you expect. We over-index the quantitative. Qualitative is just as important. It doesn't matter if you hit your numbers if your level of integrity doesn't match what it should. Number 8, not letting goals be the bad guy. You, as the rainmaker, leader of the organization, do not have to be the bad guy. If they have accountability in their goals and they don't reach their goals, the goals can be the bad guy. Number 9, propping people up that don't do their job. You can't do their job for them because every time they hit an obstacle, they want you to save them. So he said, don't do that. Number 10 is failing to listen our way to success. We love to tell our way to success, and the people who ask the most questions always win. Number 11, and I have been so guilty of this, not right now, but I have, running on personality instead of organizational gas. So lots of us have very natural abilities doing certain things. And for a long time, I did that instead of following the systems and models and plans that I had set for myself and getting out of my comfort zone and doing the things that are uncomfortable.
Steph,
So,
will you say
yeah.
number 9 one more time? Sorry.
That's okay. Number 9 was propping people up.
Okay. Yep. And then 10.
Failing to listen our way to success.
Okay. Got it. Thank you.
And then 11 is running on personality gas instead of organizational gas. So your gas for your business should be from goals, models, and systems. And
Steph, can I say something really, really fast
sure.
to that? So they recently, sorry, hold on. Somebody's trying to get in. Let me get him in. Yesterday, I'm trying to find it in my text right now. Yesterday, one of my coaching clients actually shared with me a great quote from Gary that I thought was so good. Hold on. Where is it? Shoot, I hate when search doesn't work on your text when like you know that you were just texting with somebody. Hold on, I've got it. Okay. She said that Gary just said on a call, you're never going to get your heart's desire by building your life on what you do naturally. The smart person realizes they're not perfect and has to go find the pieces that they need. And I think that has a lot to do with, I'll put that in the chat, by the way, but I think that has a lot to do with number 11. Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Steph.
I don't know how that happened. Speaking of systems and models, this is the playbook that you could buy at Mega Camp. You can also buy it from the Red Store. This is just gold. As you can see, I have like stickies and for my business planning. And so every model that anyone on stage talked about is in this. And so I would encourage you to buy this book and for your business planning for next year that I know everyone will be doing in the next probably 3 or 4 weeks. And so number 12 is leading from me go instead of we go. And that's just knowing it's not all about you as the leader. You must have a win-win compensation plan, and your people have to know that they're important and that this business is not just about you. That's the 12 mistakes CEOs make.
So good. Awesome. Craig, we started with that while you were hopping on because were you at the CEO Summit?
No, I didn't make it to the CEO Summit.
Okay. Before you share about some of the ones from the panels, I just had a couple things I want to share from the CEO Summit really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was so good. One of the things that Tony DeCello was the opener, and after what Stephanie just did, and I loved what he said. He said, the more boring you are, the richer that you get. You have to really get with like one thing and focus on it. And some people, including myself, tend to want to do a lot of things. And he said, right now we have a new type of lead gen that we need to be doing. He said, it's much more relational. You just need to figure out how to go get enough leads to meet your goal. And he said, don't call and ask your sphere about buying or selling, ask about their life. The people moving are taking a higher rate because it's an emotional move or a life change in their life. So finding the people who are having babies, getting married, getting divorced, had a death, it's something like that, because they're the ones that are going to be taking the higher rate. Steph, I know you had some good stuff on Molly Bloom, so I want you to share that. But my favorite by far, and Linda and I talked about this on our podcast, was Tim Grover, who was coach to Michael Jordan, Kobe, Dwayne Wade, so many different professional athletes. And my biggest takeaway from him was, are you interested or are you obsessed? And right now, in where we are, in this day and age, and two, in the market, he said you have to be obsessed. You can't just be interested in something, because the people who are obsessed, excuse me, thank you, are the ones that are winning. And he said a lot of us started obsessed, and then we either got some success and we became really good at something, so then we turned to just interested, or we started obsessed and then it got a little hard, and so we backed away, and then we became interested, not obsessed anymore. But he said today we have so many distractions that take us from obsession to interested. Like the average American's attention span today is 7 seconds, and after that they lose attention. Thank you, TikTok and Instagram and all the things. But this was the biggest one. He said, obsession means you aren't thinking about other things. You're in the zone. You give it your all the time. And interested people manage time versus obsessed people manage focus. And I think we get so used to managing like our time and our calendar and, our planners and all those things, but that's what interested people do. Instead, obsessed people really manage their focus, which is a huge difference than just managing your time. So those were some of the biggest ones that I had from Tim. Steph, do you want to share what you had from Molly Bloom, and then Craig will go to you next on some of yours?
Okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Molly Bloom, if you don't know, has written a book, Molly's Game, and there's a Netflix series about her. She built the largest poker game in the world. She started as a hostess at a restaurant. One of her key clients said, "Can you come help me serve drinks at my poker game?" This was in LA, and she went and started running the poker game. She Googled what music do poker players listen to. And she started trying to help him. And eventually she became the focal point of the game. And then she started her own game. And then she started the largest game in the world in New York City. We're talking about people who, one guy lost $8 million one night. And there were politicians, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon were known to play in her game, the elite of the elite. She said a lot of cool things. She was also a world-class skier. She and her brother were number 1 and number 3 in the world. And so she had a lot of challenges. It's a very, very good series on Netflix. I play poker, so I have been obsessed with her for a long time. She says the problem isn't the voice in your head, it's when you listen to it, which I thought was pretty profound, because we all have that little, voice in our head, gal on our shoulder. Relentless practice helps you decide what thoughts to have. So mental toughness. She broke her back. She took a really bad fall, and I'm sorry, it's not a series, it's a movie on Netflix. She took a fall and broke her back, and that's where her mindset had to change. They said she would never walk again, let alone ski, and of course she did. You have to make people feel seen, heard, remembered, and safe, was one of the lessons she learned when Gary said, "How did you build that game?" Be a good listener, and this all applies to our business. Be a good listener, exude warmth, cultivate authentic concern and curiosity. Integrity is the ultimate long game and the edge, and other people started slowly. She bent a little on her rules, and that's what inevitably brought her down. And it's all about your integrity, especially in this business. It doesn't matter if you reach your goals, like Gary said, if your integrity's not there. And so those were my biggest takeaways from her. I could talk about her all day, but I thought those were the biggest things.
Jen had a good question, Steph. I think she said it was make people feel seen, heard, and I'm looking through my notes.
Hold on, I have it. It's you need to make people feel seen, heard, remembered, and safe.
Yeah, safe. That's right. Yep.
And all of that applies to every real estate client we ever have. And you're welcome, Jen. And it applies to all of, if you're a leader, everyone in your organization. If people feel seen, heard, remembered, and safe, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Yep. Very true. Love that. Okay, Craig, let's move on to you. What were some of the breakouts you went to or the things you participated in, some of the biggest takeaways you had? We'll kind of
Yeah,
just
well,
back and forth.
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, first of all.
Yeah.
And Mega Camp is, something that I typically, actually, I think last year's Mega Camp was the first one I missed because I had something come up that I had to stay home for, but that was probably the only Mega Camp I've missed in 13 years. And what I recognized this time was something that reaffirmed what I learned from Gary Keller early on when at my team leader days. It was like maybe my second year as a team leader, and he had got on a phone call with all the team leaders in preparation for Mega Camp and encouraging them to get their agents there, recruits there, and everything. And what he talked about on that call was building. He basically turned it into a teaching moment, but how to build a successful business that's systematic and consistently throws off leads consistently that you don't necessarily have to go after because you've built systems around them. And he called those the 6 pillars of lead generation. And what I recognized at Mega Camp this time is everybody on stage that Gary interviewed, whether it was the open house section or the social media section or online leads, seminars, farming neighborhoods, referrals and relocation, networking, special events, all those things, that each of those were a pillar of lead generation. And what Gary taught on that call 12 years ago was it just takes 5 years. And we're seeing some people do it faster in 5 years, but that a strong business consists of 3 major pillars of lead generation, 3 big ones, and then 3 smaller ones. And what I recognized at this Mega Camp is that's what each of those people on stage have done is they've mastered a pillar of lead generation. And what I learned from Gary that day during that call that I always teach and always talk about is he said it takes about a year to year and a half to really build one of those systems well. And that's what I saw at Mega Camp are these people that basically followed that, whether they heard it from him or learned it from the Red Book, or they just kind of developed it naturally because it made sense. But it's really simple. And he said, you spend 3 months researching your pillar. So first you identify your pillar. And I don't know if Gary would agree with this. I think he probably would, but really our first pillar of lead generation should be our database. And he says, you spend 3 months researching, who's doing databases at a high level. What are they doing? I mean, it's all in the Red Book and the trainings and stuff we go to. Research what that looks like, build that plan out, identify the database you're using. Command is looking really good. Some of the top teams are using Command now. So you identify what that database is, and then you start building that out and building your plan around it. You just don't go in there and start adding contacts with no plan. You spend 3 months, and during this time, you're still generating business. You're still working open houses. You're still, getting leads by going to church, and someone at church needs it. So you're still doing business. You're still doing your business. But what you're doing is you're building a pillar that you've identified. Just like the people on stage at Mega Camp, they identified, hey, events is going to be my thing. That one guy that does events where he invites the whole city. They come, they register, great. I thought that was brilliant. But that's his pillar. He didn't just throw an event together. He most likely created a plan around what his year is going to be, what that system is going to look like, and then executed it. So it's a 3 months of building and strategizing around what your pillar of lead generation is going to be, and then a year of actually doing it, tweaking it, documenting it. And then what we tend to not do, especially me, because this is the detailed side, this is where you want to partner with someone that, you know, hire someone that is very good at this side of things, is then you document that system. You know, this is what you do. When a lead comes in from this event, this happens. I talk to my team all the time, you know, A, then B, then C, then D. You know, lead comes in, then what? Okay, after you do that, then what? You know, to cultivate these leads. And then you document that system, whether you put in a binder or a digital file. I'm a big binder guy. So, you know, we should take that, you know, print out what you have, put in a binder, and this is my database system. And we talk about systems and models all the time, but yet do we really have that system down? If we do, what happens, I think, you get on stage with Gary Keller and you share what you're doing that leads to massive success and what's changing your life and the people's around you lives.
Craig, that's so true, because that's, I feel like, why they're having so much success right now. We all are with the one pagers, because it's just someone's one page of their system that has made them a very high GCI.
And here's where that's amazing and such a valuable tool for us at KW is that's made available to us. And really that's kind of where we start with identifying your pillar. And the cool thing is it's only 3 big ones. Okay, so what he says is you build one over a year and a half, and you have it, and then what's happening is that's consistently throwing leads off at a systematic in a structured way while you're still doing business in other ways. Okay, but that system may throw off 25 deals a year. And then you go on to identify what's your second one going to be. It may be, hey, I'm going to farm 5,000 homes in this area. And then you spend a year and a half researching, which now the research is done there in the white pages, or what is it called? The white papers?
The one page?
The one pagers. Yeah. And I'm going to show you how to get to that real quick if I can share my screen. But then
I was just looking for the link to put.
I got them. Don't worry. It's all
okay, good.
I'm going to show you. So then you, after 2.5 years, 3 years, you've got 2 major pillars of lead generation, and then you do your third. So it may be your database, then farming, and then events. In 5 years, you've got 3 major pillars that are systematically and consistently throwing off 20 to 30 deals per system, systematically, because it's just, you do it, you follow the plan. And then you have 3 other smaller pillars. And that may be, hey, I'm going to work 2 open houses a month. That's a smaller pillar. You don't need as big of a system around it. And the other one may be, I'm going to door knock houses. I'm going to once a month in my farm. So then you pick 3 other smaller pillars that are throwing off 10 deals a year closed based off the smaller pillar. So if you have 1, 2, 3 major pillars where you're closing 30 deals a piece from each pillar, and then 3 smaller ones that are doing 10, well, you're going to need to hire an admin, and you can build an amazing business with just yourself and a talented admin. You've got a business that is a sellable business, first of all, and you've just got a business that it's kind of market proof. You know, not that it won't be challenging in a shifting market like the market we're in now, but you've got a plan around it where it's systemically throwing off business, you know, and it may not be throwing as much off in a shifting market, but what it's doing is it's throwing business off. And one of the shift tactics that you have to do during a shifting market is double down on your lead generation. So you may just have to do a little bit more. And that's what we all have to do during a shift.
Yeah.
But that was probably my biggest takeaway from MegaCamp this time, and really every time, is because it's the best of the best that are doing something well, and they built a plan and a system around it. And yes, it comes off real polished. I'm sure a lot of it's kind of chaotic as well when you really get into looking at what they're doing. But you know, that 6 pillars of lead generation, identifying what your 3 pillars are going to be, start with one, know what your next one's going to be. Don't worry about your third one until, you know, you get to your second one. Build that system out and be consistent around it. You know, the reason I was late to the call was because I was doing an interview with Tyler on video. And, you know, he asked what's the one thing that you would tell an agent to be successful in a shifting market, or just an agent to be successful in general. And I believe that's consistency.
Yeah. You just reminded me of one of my favorite quotes by John Maxwell, and he says it might not be about learning something new, but remembering something that's true. And I think right now, as we're going into this market, well, we're already in the market, but as we're continuing to feel a softening, it's not necessarily, well, for some people, if you're a new agent, it might be about learning something new, but if you're a seasoned agent, it's so much of just remembering what is true. And like you hearing that at every single mega camp, Craig, like it's just a reminder of what's true for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, the challenging part, I think, as agents and as independent contractors and being realtors is we wear two hats. We are the owner of a business and we're also the employee of that business. Okay?
Yeah.
We're the same person. So who's holding us accountable to doing what we need to do? I just talked with Tyler about this on video, and that was, why do we not look at our real estate career like a 9-to-5 job? That's paying us $200,000-$300,000 a year.
Don't get Stephanie started on the 40-hour work week.
Okay.
We just talked about that at our panel this week in Kentucky, and she's the exact same thing, Craig.
Right. I'd love to hear it. So, but yeah, we just got
just a second.
right, we'll do. But to kind of wrapping that up, I'm going to share my screen real quick and just show you. And Rob showed me how to get to this.
Perfect.
But yeah, if you just go to your basic KW command page, you just log into agent.kw or whatever it is, and you log into your main page of KW Command, you just click on connect right here. And that takes you to so many amazing resources. They've really got this built out right now, I think, in my opinion. Where you can go and get things. And then over here on the right where it says quick links, when you click on 2023 Mega Agent Camp, check this out. Takes you straight to this page where all the one-pagers are.
And if you are watching this and you're not with KW, just send me a private message and I'll send you all of the.
Yep. So you've got agent business models, you've got open house one-pagers, farming, social media one-pagers. It's just all right here. And what's cool is this is the 3 months of research, really. I think this, and then talking to 3 people that are doing it at a high level, calling them up and saying, hey, I saw you on stage at Mega Camp. I was so impressed. Could you carve out 30 minutes for me to have a phone call with you? Because I really want to implement this at a high level. And people love to share. So, but that's how you get to these one-pagers. I'm sure there's multiple ways to get there, but that's how I figured it out this morning.
Yeah, that's the best way. If you just search Mega Camp, yeah, that's your spot on. Yeah. Oh yes. Oh my gosh, Karen, you're gonna spiral over some when you get in there and find those. There is a lot of goodness in there. A lot of goodness in there. Craig, that was great. Thank you. Stephanie, do you want to talk about anybody that you heard that was really great or anything else that you really picked up?
Yes. So 2 things. I think Tim Grover said it, but Dana, correct me if I'm wrong. We were just talking about learning and remembering. And he said, knowledge isn't power, implementation is.
Love that. Yeah.
So he was Michael Jordan's coach, and Michael Jordan knowing how to play basketball wasn't enough, right? He had to practice, and play. And so I just thought that was pretty profound. And then I took some notes from Tim Tebow. He was our guest speaker at the Mastery event. And Tim, if you don't know, played for Florida, and then, which breaks my heart because I'm a UK fan, but that's fine. And then he went on to play in the NFL, and he has a foundation. He helps children with disabilities. He throws something similar to what Southland Christian Church in Lexington does, a Jesus prom for people with mental and physical development issues. So one thing he said that really stuck with me, and we talked about this yesterday or the other day at our meeting, stick with the fight because you never know when the impact and change will come. So in a shift, the conversion rates are going to go way down. And even for people who are super skilled, you're going to have to call more people to get an appointment, to get a deal under contract. But don't stop at call 17 when call 18 might be the one that for sale by owner says, yes, you can come list my house. And so that's how I equated it to our business. And then he said, choose your convictions over your emotions. In a shifting market, I've been through another, which was way worse than this one. And it's very emotional for all of us. So choose your convictions and what you're going to do. Like Dana said, Tony DeSello says you have to commit and you have to do it. And then what thoughts, habits, and people should I leave behind? And that's pretty impactful when you think about, are there people in your life that are toxic? Do you have toxic thoughts? Do you have habits that aren't serving you well? So what thoughts, habits, and people should you leave behind to become the person you want to become? And so I really thought those were some very interesting quotes from Tim Tebow, and I really liked him. And then I just have the overall theme, I thought, and maybe, it's like when you go to church and you feel like the preacher's talking to you, maybe they were just talking to me, I don't know. But I thought the overall theme was authenticity. I heard speaker after speaker after speaker say that you have to be your authentic self. So to Craig's point, if one of your pillars, if you see, oh, Danny Barron throws these amazing events and parties, but you're an introvert and you don't want to be around 25 people or more, then don't make that one of your pillars. Be authentic to who you are and the things that you would enjoy. So don't choose that. That's the beauty of this business. If you don't, that's what we were talking about. And Dana, let me have 1 minute to be on my soapbox about your schedule. But if you do, I don't like door knocking, and my friend Jenny loves to door knock, and I'm not going to door knock. So you know what? I better be really good at 3 or 4 other things if I'm going to absolutely rule something out. And what we talked about, Craig, you'll find this funny, I'm sure, but if you treat your business like you work, if you worked somewhere at a real job, as people like to say, you clock in and you clock out and you work a minimum of 40 hours a week. And we as realtors tend to think we're really busy. And Dana and I built our business on open houses. We represented builders. I worked a model from 1 to 5, 7 days a week. And I did that for a long, long time. And I built my database up and I built my business up. And so what if you did an open house Thursday from 5 to 7? That's 2 hours. What if you did one from 1 to 3 and 3:30 to 5:30 on Saturday? And you did the same thing on Sunday, and you printed the houses in just like the one you're holding open in the same school district. And you said, you know what, I'm busy till 5:30, but at 6:15, I can show you these houses. You're going to meet people. They're coming to you. They're coming to see the house. Will you pick up everyone? No. But what I just mentioned to you is 10 hours worth of work of your 40-hour work week. And if you know and do open house model on these one pagers and you do it the right way and you host 5 open houses a week, I promise you it's impossible not to be successful. If you follow the model and implement it and you do that.
Yeah.
You will be successful if that's the pillar you choose and you follow the one pager and you do it right. So you still have 30 hours of work you can do to work your 40-hour job, but that would be a really good way to spend 10 hours right now.
Yeah, and we're doing that on our team, and the Big Red team. We're having a better year than we had last year, and that is a
When the
model.
market is down over 30%.
Right. When our team's up, so what that means is we're taking market share right now. And when you take market share during a shift, what I'm told is you don't relinquish that market share.
Right.
And that's when we launched our Keller Williams office in Southern Indiana, was in 2009. You'd think, oh, wow, that's the worst time to start an office. Well, in less than 2 years, we were the number 2 company in the market. And we took that market share. And so, yeah, but it's following that open house plan. And and that was something I learned at Mega Camp years ago.
Right.
6 or 7 years ago, when they were talking about doing open houses on Tuesday nights and Thursday nights. And that wasn't even done in our market yet. So we started doing our open houses on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Yeah.
Marketing at a high level, marketing them as soon as they went active for an open house the very next day,
Right.
and you double side more deals. You get exposure. You get the people that aren't working with an agent yet because it's a new listing on the market, and it's just so many tips you could do, and it's all in those one pagers.
Mhm.
It is.
Now we've got the models laid out for us.
Craig, I'm on track for my business to be up 32% over last year. So
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Mhm. Sarah's over here saying she stinks. She's like, I'm not, my business is not up that
Yeah,
much.
well, yeah, and that's okay. You know, the biggest thing is don't let the naysayers get in your head.
Yeah, for
You know,
sure.
it's
Yeah.
there's someone out there doing it, so
Well, actually,
we can do it as well.
Craig, you just said exactly what I was just going to say. There are people that are out there doing it. One of my favorite people, and I did not know this lady prior to Mega Camp, but her name was, I think you say Mary Chatham King, and she's out of a town in North Carolina. Their town has 70,000 population, so it's tiny. And last 12 months, she had 312 closings. I'm sorry, 328 closings for a total of 218 million in volume in a town of 70,000. And she said that the whole way that she did that is she came up with 4 buckets of value, and she just creates so much content, and that she creates content for people who are not transacting in real estate right now, just to be top of mind with basically everybody in the whole town. I'm trying to find her one pager because I know, or Steph, do you have it? Did you remember seeing hers?
I'm looking.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me if you find it. She said that basically she just got laser focused on creating content for her entire town, similar to what Kim Pozek, very similar to what Kim Pozek. He chose YouTube. I think she might have chosen Facebook, or I can't remember exactly.
Email. She does email.
Email. That's right. Yes, email. It was email. And she said
That's a new technology.
right. Yeah. Nobody's ever heard of that before. And she said she does a mixture of social media. Here it is. Emails every single week with a call to action. And she has a really nice magazine that she mails out 4 times a year. But her content is listings, the favorite things about the house. Here's your perfect day in this neighborhood. Here's what I would do if I lived in this neighborhood for a day. And she just, I mean, every day she has stuff dripping out, going out. She sends a general market update. She sends out every time a house, like every new listing that comes up in their town. They're very big about all about their team and community info and why they do. And she said just creating 4 buckets of value and doing her content consistently in a town of 70,000, she closed 328 closings last 12 months. Like that is like Jen Courtwright, you got that all day long in Marysville. Go for it. I mean, seriously, it's crazy to think about a small town like that and dominating that. There it is, dominating that much market share. Steph, what did I miss that she has?
Okay, step 1, you identify who your audience, you identify your ideal client. Step 2, use buckets. Identify 4 buckets: listing, market updates, community, and team. Create a menu of ways to present content for each bucket. Your listings, 15 different ways to present a listing, etc. Then step 3, what is your voice? Authenticity creates connection. That's what I just was going over. And what are the characteristics you want to convey? Example is approachable intelligence, enjoys one another, is deeply rooted in our community, has the best strategies to get homes sold, invest in getting better. Sorry, not bigger, invest in getting better. Step 4, create and adjust for all platforms. Social media, use this bucket system as a game changer for efficiently filling out your social media content calendar. Emails, they're a buffet of information. Sorry, they're basically free. They're easily forwardable. The insights they provide are endless. You're not relying on an algorithm. And then their team email logistics they send it every Thursday at 6 p.m. Their email list has 22,000 people in it, and they design their graphics in Canva.
Wow.
So, not difficult. And then,
Steph, will you type her name in the chat when you get finished? Because I'm afraid I don't have the correct spelling.
yeah. And then the magazine, it's like an email, but expanded. Make it a real estate sandwich, meaning I think real estate, community, real estate. And then They do quarterly printed publications. They mail those to 16,000 local property owners. Additional 1,000 are distributed in stacks at local businesses, and the cost per copy, print and mail, is $1.45. That's her one pager.
So she is spending, so then she's spending over 15 grand on the magazines if she's mailing 16. Yeah, okay, I did have the spelling right. I'm just not saying it right.
Yeah, she spent that much, but how much did you say she made again?
Well, I mean, that's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Who cares at the point of you've got 200, let's just do the rough math on this, because I didn't have her GCI, but 218 million in volume. Let's just even say she had 2.5% commission. She's
Yeah.
still at 5.4 million GCI.
Let me interrupt you because at the bottom here it says
Do you have it on there?
choose
Just
your
40 hours a week, work
sponsors
week.
and cast your vision. She's not paying for that magazine.
No, yeah.
Sponsors are paying for the magazine.
Yep,
Sure.
I guarantee you are exactly right.
I'm telling y'all, you can print what they gave you. Just order the book. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like, she doesn't just wake up and be like, oh, hey, I think I'm going to do a magazine today. She got a plan around it.
Right.
And it's building a plan around your business.
Yep, totally, 100%. Yeah. I loved what Ken Pozek said about how the reason, and he just followed Mr. Beast, which I'm reading the best.
Oh, Mr. Beast is awesome.
Oh my gosh, I am reading, Craig. I should have brought you one of these, but I'm reading the best book right now that Linda and I had Dr. Ben Hardy on our podcast, and this is his brand new book called Be Your Future Self Now, and it is so good. And the whole first chapter is basically about the story of Mr. Beast. But Ken, and if you guys don't know, Mr. Beast is like a
You'll
crazy.
be hooked. My daughter is making me. We watched 2 episodes every night before bed. It's so.
Oh, your daughter watches
and
it too?
Oh my gosh! And I am like hooked. Like I want to keep watching it, but she needs to go to bed. It's
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah, he's great. But Ken even said the one thing was he just said, like, we made YouTube our one thing, and then he said the biggest piece of advice was when they got to the point where he slowed down enough to analyze how the videos were performing and not just moving on to the next one, the next one, the next one. He actually was strategic with like what videos were getting the highest views, which ones were resulting in people calling in. And so he said he had to like really slow down, to speed up, which most of you have heard that before. But it's very similar, I think, with Mary that we were just talking about, strategery around just her main 4 things that she does. And really it kind of goes back, Craig, to your lead gen buckets.
Yeah,
which
Mr. Beast's net worth is $500 million.
Yeah,
Now it's probably more. That's just what I Googled yesterday.
Yeah, well, oh gosh, I had this highlighted. Oh man, hold on, let me see if I can find it. But yeah, his story, I mean, it is absolutely insane. They tell the story of the time in order to get to he had a goal of getting to 3 million subscribers, and in order to get to his 3 million subscribers, he ran a contest. And he said he would give 3 million pennies, which, by the way, I did have to ask Siri how much that is, and it's $30,000 for those of you that don't know that quickly. He said he would give 3 million pennies, aka 30 grand, to the person who became his 3 millionth subscriber. And he jumped like 1 million subscribers in like 2 weeks, just over that. He drove more than 100 hours to purchase a Snickers bar from every Walmart in his state. And he jumped like 50 or 500,000 subscribe. Like, I mean, just the craziest I've ever seen. But this whole premise of him talking about in the chapter is like, he knew where he wanted to be. He was trying to be his future self. He got strategic with the stuff that he loved, which was making people laugh and like doing funny stuff. And it paid off big time. I think
he read the entire dictionary online.
Yes. And then what was the other thing he
and
did?
People watch it. They keep checking in.
He has 82 million subscribers on YouTube in less than 5 years from starting. And over a 500,000 net worth. And over a 500 million net worth, 500 million net worth. And he said he has a team of more than 30 people. and just his annual revenue is 100 million from his YouTube video. I mean, just crazy, you guys, just absolutely crazy.
I've never heard of him till right now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you'll have to go look him up. But
You'll be
that's
hooked. You just gotta, just give yourself an hour at least, because you'll
Yeah.
keep watching episodes.
yeah. I had one last, if we can all kind of be thinking of our last quick things. I had the one thing I really loved was Phil Jones, who wrote the book, like Exactly What to Say. I think is that he's written several, but a lot of really good things I got from him were just some really good scripts that as we're going into a different kind of market, I thought were really good. He said one of the ones that he, and these are all like psychology researched, scripts to get people thinking differently. But he said, if you start with, I'm not sure if it's for you, but ... And I thought that he said that like rewires people's minds. The best one he said is, how open-minded would you be about blank, like ... He used, what was my other one that I loved so much?
Most people.
Most people, yep, that's what, oh, wait, where is it? Shoot, there was, most people was a big one. And then, oh man, it was right with most people. Shoot, I can't find it in my notes. He said, let's see, people are happy to follow a crowd. So share with them, here's what most people would do, ... And then he said, and then they realize that they are like most people. If they aren't, and they're a profile that's like, oh, I don't want to do what everybody else is doing, then he said, you just flip it and say, please don't be like most people and do blank. So he said, you kind of have to know who your person is. But he said that the person who can ask the best questions and the most questions will be the one that will win every single time. So everybody has to get extremely purposeful around asking great questions that will lead to great relationships, and great relationships lead to opportunities every single time. And I love what Robin shared at our panel this week in Kentucky, that she heard from Diana Kokoska, opportunity is never lost because it's always found by someone else. And I thought, okay, if that's not enough to make you think right there, like opportunity is never lost. It's always found by somebody else. It's just, is it you? Like, is it you that is finding it, or are you the one that's losing it? But Phil said we can be too efficient with our language that we aren't being effective. And he said, if someone says, wow, really, you're saying keep going, but I'm not listening. And so he said, we just really have to be thinking about, how we're using our language. And some of those scripts I thought were so good just to get people like over the line. So I haven't read his book yet because I'm like 5 books lined up right now that I need to read, but I do have his book on my list. But yeah, it was really great. Craig, any last things you wanted to share?
It's funny. I'm not the best note taker. So this mega camp, I kind of just listened, but I'll read all my notes to you here for my final thought because it's short of what I wrote, but it's kind of wrapping up what I talked about. And that's focus systems, documented systems lead to better systems. Micro focus, instead of focusing on 15 things, focus on 3 made lead sources and develop a high level process around them. 3 big pillars and 3 smaller pillars.
Yep. Love that. Good one. Steph?
I've talked about my big notes. So I wanted to talk about a 1-pager that everyone could implement in the last quarter to get more appointments. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
Wendy Papasan did it. It's called the Coffee Conversation Competition.
I love that.
No one on here can't do it, so it's very easy. Step 1, identify a goal and a prize for your team. The person with the most books given, referrals received, and appointments set for her team got a $100 gift card. Wendy set a goal of a minimum 2 appointments in person. Don't overcomplicate it. Just ask someone to have coffee. The step 2 would be to get your team buy-in. Include everyone, your admins, VAs, ISAs, etc. Even if you're not on a team, find a friend to hold you accountable. 3, pick a theme. Wendy's team used the new Your First Home book to tailor the conversation. So the Your First Home book is a little red book that Gary and Jay just wrote. And that one is what you'll be giving away. So go to the appointment, you bring to the coffee appointment, you bring a copy of the First Home book, staple your business card into the back of it. During the conversation, bring out the book and say, you know what? This new book from Keller Williams just came out. It's called Your First Home. Who do you know that could use this book? Tell them you only have one book and ask for the referral's contact information so you can then get that person the book. Obviously, continue the conversation. Thank the person for meeting you. Contact the referral and send them the book. This is actually what it looks like. It's white with red writing, and it's just a little book. Set up a first-time home buyer seminar and invite the referral. And then add everyone you meet to your database. And her admin actually won the contest. So not even one of the salespeople.
That's
And
cool.
so this is something any of us could do. We could set up 2 appointments a week for coffee with someone we know, ask them who we can pass this book to, set up some buyer consults, do a buyer seminar via Zoom or in person, a buyer consultation, and then that will give you more buyers to work with in the fourth quarter.
Love it. Awesome. And I did find the PDF of that and I dropped it in the chat for you guys. So you should be able to go to the chat and click that and you can have that one pager immediately, which will be great.
So not a whole pillar, Craig, but something easy to get into action.
Yeah. And I'll put what I'll do, Dana, we can put on for next month, my 6.5 steps to build a successful real estate business.
Yeah.
I'll teach that again via the one team.
Yep, that'd be awesome. Yeah, that is a great course, so that would be awesome. All right, you guys. Well, thanks, Stephanie. Thanks, Craig, for sharing. Hopefully you guys got some good nuggets today. And don't forget, if you haven't already, hop on to your KW Connect and go ahead and you can download all the playbooks. And that will be my rewatch list. Perfect. Michelle said, okay, awesome. Thanks, Michelle, for being on. And if you guys need anything, just email us and let us know, and we're happy to provide whatever we can.
Hey, Dana, how do you get the notes from this chat once it goes away? Like once this thing goes away and I hang up? You know?
Yeah, from the group chat.
Yeah, you can.
I've saved it if you want me to email it to you, or if you have a Facebook page or something that I can.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be a great idea. Thanks, Jim.
Sure.
Craig, will you put your email in the chat and maybe Jim could shoot it
Sure.
over to you? Okay, awesome. Thanks. Otherwise, I think Abby can download the chat afterwards too. Yes. Okay, perfect. We'll download, Abby, let's download it just in case we need it too. Okay, awesome. Thank you all.
All
Have
right.
a great rest of your day. See you.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.